This is Guitarist Denis Taaffe, and I want to welcome you to the making of my 69th album. And it was called Modern Rock Guitar, Volume 69, Landscape. And this is a reissue, newly reissued album. And it's very obscure. It wasn't really available for very long. So it's kind of fun to listen back to it now. It was originally released September 27th, 2006. Okay, and it was my 54th new CD of 2006. That gives you an idea. I was really on a roll at that time. So I'll have to listen back just as you do to tell you about it. Yeah, I wish I had made a video for it right after I recorded it so I could remember what I was thinking and so on. Now, there's 12 tracks on the album, and let's quickly discuss the album cover. I was really putting out a lot of albums, and at that time, my friend Chuck Terrell was doing the album covers, doing the photos for the album covers, and well, I think he started running out of photos, and I'm not sure what this photo represents exactly, unless it's like an apartment he was living in or something. I don't know, but I like the idea that there were two entryways there, and those little shrubs and things. So I called it landscape. You know. Now remember, 2006, I was using a lot of samples of various sounds, drum machines, and sampled drums, and then still using guitar and guitar loops and so on. Alright, so let's begin with the very first track, which is 11 minutes long. For an intro track, that's pretty long, and it's called Habitats. Let's hear that. Yeah, and you can hear those samples. I've got those sampled drums, a lot of a swell guitar. Remember the swell guitars where you hit a note, then turn up the volume, and you don't hear the picking sound, so the note sounds like it's just swelling in like a keyboard. Sample is a repeating sample, as well as the drums. So as I recall, those loops or samples were running off a computer to a mixer to a PA system, so I could hear the drums. Guitar soloing then. Okay, let's fast forward it to a 6-minute mark. Clean delayed guitars there. fast forward again to 9:22. So that was a really fun track, fun for me, finding parts over it. I could take my time with it and think of ideas that would work over it and things. And it was just done live in the studio there. And to me, it totally feels like you're really playing in a band, but you have control of every sound, so you can kind of direct or kind of guide it into the direction that you want musically. Alright, let's move on to track 2, because it's kind of a long album. It's 12 tracks. Okay, here's one called Shrubs. Okay. Definitely sample drums. And that drum, the bass line, is me playing guitar, dropped an octave, and then looped via a rack mount looper. And it's the basis of the track. Everything runs off of that bass track. The bass track is the main track, if you like, and it controls the timing of everything else. That's kind of a reverse guitar. Back then I was using the Line 6 Pod XT Live. So I had all kinds of presets on there for different kinds of sounds. Alright, let's move on. Fast forward to 4 minutes. And guitar soloing. Not very musical, but fun to play. Developing, soloing. There's the main riff I developed. Harmonics. Then bringing the loops back in. Alright, let's move on. Track 3, Evergreens. And same minute. Boy, these are long albums. Another 7-minute, 31 second track. Alright, let's try it. From the solo, here's I used to be able to play pretty darn fast, but it wasn't musical at all. And here I'm kind of halfway into discovering that, and so trying to change and add some arpeggios to scales and things. Alright, well, let's continue anyway. That's what was fun, was to incorporate, standard rock stuff and then add my looping stuff and try to integrate it, which is what I was doing here. Yeah, so there I'm using those swell guitar loops. Okay, let's fast forward a bit to 5 minutes. There. Alright, moving on. Number 4, Japanese Beatles. And this is a pretty short track, so let's hear that. Okay, now this is a strange track. That little wah 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 thing, that is actually a sample. So I really played around that. Added drums and which were drum machines and samples both. And then basically added swelled chords and leads. I think even the bass here is a sample as well. It worked out. And this is around the time that I was kind of considering dropping a lot of the samples. So if you think about it, really all I did to this track was just add some guitar, because I already had the drums, the sampled bass, and the sampled little keyboardy thing. So there wasn't much left to add, really. Just some swelled guitars. Alright, let's move on to number 5, Foliage. Now this I like a lot better. Yeah, this is one of the better tracks on the album. Hear the clean guitar loops. Right, and I played the bass on this one. And then the swell guitars and the different layers. I very much like the feel of this track, Much more musical than the last track, I think. Remember, the last track had a bunch of real fast stuff and wasn't very musical, and that's what I was starting to discover. So here you'll notice a lot slower, and it's more each trying to develop a melody, playing over each chord. Yeah, I remember this was 2006, so, and, started playing guitar seriously with electric in the 80s with, you have people like Steve Vai and Yngwie Malmsteen and all these really fast guitar solos and so on. It's funny that since album 200, I haven't played, I don't think, one distorted solo at all. And for a long time I couldn't even hear anything like that because it just wasn't, to my ears, not musical at all. Now I can hear it, and it's fun, without a doubt. It's fun to play. But musically, you really got to question, is that really something you'd want to sit down and listen to, as you're going to sleep or what have you. Alright, anyway. Okay, let's fast forward that one a little bit. I'm sure it's a very long solo. Well, if anything, I'm glad that I slowed down a bit and tried to be more musical and pay attention more to the rhythm and that kind of thing. Alright, the next one's Group Feeding. What a strange title, but okay. Yeah, as I remember, I looked up anything to do with landscaping, and I found this page, probably WikiLeaks page or whatever, or Wikipedia, and so I looked up landscaping and it had group feeding of grubs or whatever. Anyway, it's 10 minutes 49 seconds long. Let's see about that one. Definitely a rock track. Fast forward about 5 minutes. Truthfully, I'm more impressed with what's going on underneath the soloing than I am the soloing. The loops. Almost sounds like keyboards, kind of a backing track. Let's fast forward a little bit. It's a good jam for sure. A majority of it is this big, huge solo and kind of jam. But I like the ideas underneath it very much. The soloing, for the time it was decent. I can't say it's a thing I like that much, but I like the idea that trying to be more musical about it. Alright, next one. Track 7. The Colony. And that one is a shorter track. 3 minutes 46 seconds. Let's take a listen to that one. Now this is fun, because what I would do is pick out a scale or a mode type thing, and then pick out a really odd bass line, and then see what I could come up with that would complement it. And so it really made me listen and come up with things I'd never played before, rather than just stuff I'm used to playing, I guess. And so this is one of these tracks. I guess a little experimental track, if you like. Yeah, you hear the bass line. Da-na-na, da-na-na. Trying to use exotic scales and that kind of thing. Alright, let's move on to track 8. Egg Masses. That's a good title. Alright, this is also a shorter track. Let's see what this one's like. I like the bass line a lot. Decent introduction. Let's see where it goes. 2 minutes 21 seconds. Same kind of thing. Experimenting. Playing over that bass line. Probably only guitar players would like that kind of thing. But it was a lot of fun to, experiment using a specific scale that you hadn't used very often and see where it goes. Instead of playing just generic, blues licks or pentatonic, and try to use a little more exotic scales. Okay. Moving on, number 9, Pesticides. Let's take a listen to that one. Yeah, I very much like the mood created here. The rhythm's a little slower. The drums are a little overdone, but that's okay. Guitar. know, it's these kind of tracks that, you know, help me develop my ear as far as improvisation, finding parts that fit on the spot, that kind of thing. You know, it took a long time to develop that. And so this is all part of it. You know, and I like what I've come up with so far on this track. Let's fast forward it a bit. 2 minutes. And what's funny there, that is an early attempt at what I'm doing now, really. I'm trying to use those delay guitars. Remember back then, though, there was no syncing delay times to MIDI, you know, so you kind of had to play it and hope for the best, basically. So take a listen to this. Not quite there. Yeah, I like the different guitar sounds. And see there, I'm trying to improvise a melody rather than just going into a huge solo. So that's a definite big change there. Yeah, you can tell I've got the volume rolled back to not get a lot of gain. Can't help but put those sweeps in. It's just part of my style at the time. I like it. I like the fade out and everything. It's kind of a laid back track. Definitely, probably influenced by Joe Satriani, I would think, around that time too. Okay, track 10, Landscapes. Very short track. 1 minute and 24 seconds. So let's see what this is. Oh, the main theme of the album. And all these tracks, you know, that developed my timing as far as playing lead guitar, you know. So it wasn't, you know, at first it used to be all just running scales as fast as you could. Forget about timing, who cares? But here is much different. You know, definitely feeling the different times and so on. Okay, let's move to the track 11. It's called Bloom. Yeah. Alright, and it's 4 minutes 43 seconds. Let's hear that one. Ah, very nice. Not quite jazz guitar. But a much more laid back guitar. Very nice. Yeah. Alright, and let's fast forward that a bit. 2:48. careful with note choices there. Anyway, very nice. Yeah, I actually like that better than a lot of the rock tracks that I did on this album. Okay, there's one more track, Cocoon. Okay, and let's take a look at that. That's a 10-minute track to end the album. Man, that's a long album. It's 71 minutes and 12 seconds. Over an hour. Okay, here it is, track 12. Good rhythm to it. Yeah, those are those sample drums. Fast forward, I guess 3 minutes 49 seconds. There's actually quite a few layers of loops, a lot of clean reverb guitar. There's something interesting on this track. Is one thing I heard is kind of Eddie Van Halen used to do tapping, you know, kind of this kind of thing, this kind of a. Well, anyway, on this track, if you listen closely, took that idea, but with clean guitar, doing this kind of a. But on a clean guitar and then looped it. And if you listen closely, that's in there. And this is basically the kind of track that is basically a lot of fun, because it's basically, here's a clean canvas, right? And now here we've drawn a border, you know, and inside you can paint anything you want and see where it takes you. And that's kind of what I did here, finding different sounds and building it up, and to try to develop the track and see where it goes. Alright, so let's move it up here to 8 minutes and see where we've gone here. There's that clean guitar. I told you about that tapping. There it is. discover something different. I'm glad I didn't resort to just a long guitar solo, which would be easy. This, in comparison, is much harder. Yeah, trying to find sounds that fit well in positions. Much more creative, I think, than just running scales, you know. Yeah, that's a good track, too. Alright, that's it. That is volume 69. It's really an oldie but goodie. It's a obscure album. I'm glad to have it newly reissued, because now once it's released, it won't go anywhere for a long time as far as the people having access to it. You know, before it was there for a couple years and then taken off and that kind of thing. Whereas here, it'll be here for a long time. And overall, I really like this album. And definitely my transition from rock kind of, soloing to paying more attention to rhythm, melodic ideas, more creative ideas, I think. And trying to integrate them and layer them, improvisation-wise. It's a fun album. It's one, definitely a style. I think my first 200 albums are definitely a style. You definitely have to like rock and rock guitar more than my later albums. Okay, and as I recall, we did CD 70, which was called Landscape 2. So we'll do a review on that one too. Okay, but there's some really solid tracks on here. And kind of the some of the ideas that I even use now, so it makes for a kind of unusual album, and it's a bit creative, creative ideas. So I'm very pleased with it. Okay, see you next time. Bye.